Hi, welcome to week 13 of MRA Watercolor. This week we'll paint a night sky using both the blues on our palettes, starting with the cool blue and then the warm blue, and we'll add a little neutral gray near the end. Here are a couple of photos looking up into a night sky, just for inspiration. The first one is mostly blues. Look at the sky closely. Where are the lightest areas? Maybe near the bottom? Where are the darkest? Are the colors of the sky smoothly blended or more splotchy and blurry? Or maybe both? This first sky photo is mostly blues and black. Here's one that has some cool red near the bottom. Maybe in this one the sun just set. Again, notice the light and dark sky areas. For this demonstration, I chose to use the blues with neutral gray on a vertical page. You may choose to orient your paper horizontally, like this one. This is where we're headed, by the way. It's really up to you. I'm showing it in half size for the video, and I do feel like for the size of our round brushes, the half size works well. So you'll find that your watercolor block will be taped in half. If you feel like you want to use your full sheet, you may just pull the tape off and use your full page. There will be no worries about having to tape down our pages since we're using the blocks, and you will not need to start with the sketch either. These are just examples that show one time I used just the blues, and this time I used the blues along with a little neutral gray to get darker. We will be spattering stars on these. Salt did not work well, so we will be using white paint for stars. So to get started, you will need a few paint puddles. Start with a puddle of the cool blue and the warm blue. These can be watery at first, and they should be pretty watery at first, so that as you work you can darken them by pulling off some of the color and adding more pigment. You'll see in the demo soon. But these will be your lightest variations of the two blues. And then make a small puddle of the neutral gray. I made mine in the demo as I was working, but if you want to go ahead and start with just a little small puddle of neutral gray, then you'll be ready for that near the end. So before you begin adding paint to the paper, you need to wet the paper thoroughly first. Start by spraying the page. If you're using a half sheet, then only spray the side that you are going to be painting. But then use the large flat brush to spread the water around. Tilting the board up toward the light can show you any areas that you might have missed, and you need to spread the water evenly around. Now, taking the round brush, use the cool blue that you made to spread around on the page. Just spread it around loosely. This will be your lightest color. Now after this, you're going to make a darker puddle of the cool blue. So pull some aside and add some cool blue pigment to that puddle. And again, loosely paint it across the page. Look at the areas that are already somewhat darker and darken them up. Don't cover the entire page because we want some of that lighter color to show through. Remember when we were sponging trees and every time we added the next color, we would not totally cover the previous sponged lighter color? It's the same thing here. We want to add where it's already appearing to be darker, let's just kind of add more pigment. Now this is the warm blue. Again, just moving loosely around the paper. This is a lot of fun to do because the water helps the colors to blend. Keep it lighter near the bottom of the sky. Eventually we'll add trees, and so in that area you won't need to worry about putting too much color all the way down. Here again, I made a darker pigment of the warm blue. It has more pigment in it, therefore it will darken the sky. At this point, I needed more of it and didn't have a whole lot of water, which was fine because there's already water on my paper. So you might even see me sometimes taking warm blue straight out of the palette. There, I'm trying to lift some of the color off where I wanted it to be lighter. Remember, with the texturing projects, we practice lifting. You can use that technique here too. If you accidentally put too much paint in one spot that you wanted lighter, feel free to pull it back off. Now, I made a tiny puddle of neutral gray, trying to get the sky dark enough because eventually we will be spattering some stars on the sky. Watercolors dry lighter, so it's okay if this seems a little bit dark, because as it dries, when it becomes lighter, it will still be dark enough for the stars to show. Just moving all around the page all the time keeps the whole paper wet. So you can keep manipulating the paint where you want it to go as long as you're doing it all over the page, if that makes sense. So just keep moving around until you're happy with the light areas and the dark areas and also the coverage on the paper. And when you want to stop, it's really up to you. It took me about 8 minutes to paint this. We'll have to let it thoroughly dry. We're not going to use the hair dryers on this because we want it to dry naturally. And that's it. Thanks for watching.